You know, the future of this country can be as great as we make it. That's the beautiful thing about America. There's nothing predetermined. There's nothing that's decided in advance. You get to decide it. And then every 4 years, people run around saying this is the most important election in history. It is the most important election in history. The next one always is, because that's the time that Americans get a chance to figure out the future direction of their country.
We walk away from town hall meetings with not only a lot of new supporters, but a lot of converts. You expect when people come in undecided, they hear him, they get a chance to ask him a couple of tough questions, or they hear somebody else ask him a tough question, and they see the way he handles questions. You expect to get your share of those. What we're finding is we're getting a lot of converts. This past Sunday in Hampton, we picked up a lot of new supporters who were leaning in another direction. And they came, they heard them, they liked what they saw, and they particularly liked what they heard.
So these are the reasons that I'm running. You can summarize it this way: keeping us on offense in the terrorist war against us, and keeping us on offense for a growth economy.
I ruled out Rudy because he doesn't have the national experience that I'm looking for. I think he somewhat overplays the 9/11 card. I think he's good. I think he's a good manager. I think he knows what he's doing. I think he's a smart guy, but he's a little bit, I think, a little too fringy. I think he needs more gravitas, although he did have more than I thought.
The thing with Rudy that New Hampshire doesn't like is that he has more or less ignored New Hampshire and kind of figured that he could win it seemed like at least he was acting as if he could win the nomination without New Hampshire, and of course New Hampshire does not like that. And then he's a New Yorker, and he's got a very brusque style, and so that's not exactly something that New Hampshireites like. He's a big city guy. But on the other hand, there are things about him that are sort of some things that New Hampshire would like. For example, that his brusque style, although that would be off-putting, he's also direct, and I think New Hampshire people like people who are direct. And his policies, he's not your typical, I don't want to say he's not your typical Republican, because what is your typical Republican? But you think in a primary, a Republican should be conservative on all issues. He obviously is conservative on sort of economic, fiscal issues, but more liberal on social issues. And that fits in with the iconoclastic New Hampshire voter who wants to have somebody who is, it's a live free or die state. So, the social issues they're not as concerned about as, say, a South Carolina or, when you get to the South or the Midwest. The social issues aren't going to bother them. They're going to say, fine. I mean, there's a libertarian streak in New Hampshire politics.
I embraced him like he's embracing the people of New Hampshire. I find myself very comfortable calling him Rudy and embracing him and telling him it like it was. The last thing I said to him as he walked out the door just now, I said, I hope this caravan leads you to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, because you look real good in that Oval Office.
He is the kind of candidate who tells it like it is, and that is the kind of thing that New Hampshire people love. They like people who tell it like it is and don't dance. And Rudy doesn't seem to dance.